It's an honor here to be joined by Philadelphia Phillies first baseman Rhys Hoskins. Rhys, thank you so much for giving me the time today on such short notice. Having a day to kind of, I guess, after the hangover of winning it, what's your feeling now? What's going through your mind now that you're going to be playing in the postseason after 11 years for the Phillies? It's been a long time.
Yeah, Manav, thanks for having me, first of all.
Yeah.
It's great to connect with you.
Yeah.
It's great for the organization, right? Like you said, it's been a long time since we've entered the playoffs and have a chance at winning a World Series. I've been here since 2014, and that's all the talk has always been about, is getting to the playoffs. We've come up short too many times. I've had seasons end too early, so it feels fantastic, outstanding to kind of finally get over the hump. The thing about the playoffs is if you get in, you have a chance, and I think that's what we all are very excited about. The celebration was fun a couple nights ago. We'll get back after it on the field today, just to kind of as one final tune-up before we go and play St. Louis.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so happy that the Phillies have been able to reach the playoffs. Really happy for you as well. What do you think is really special about this Phillies team that they've been able to go so far this year compared to teams in the past?
I think the thing about this team is that we've had to face a lot of adversity throughout the year. We lost an all-star second baseman in Gene Segura in May. And then a couple of weeks later, we lost the former MVP in Bryce Harper. And we just have had to have that next man up mentality. And we've had a lot of different guys step up throughout the year. And I think that's how we created some momentum in the middle of the year and were able to win a bunch of games.
Yeah, it's been great to see that. You've been really consistent in your career in terms of hitting home runs. You've been right around that 30 home run mark almost every year. So I think that's really one of the toughest things to do in baseball, is to be consistent. So what's the key for you in doing that?
Yeah, no doubt on the consistency part. The game is hard enough in itself, but to be able to do it over the course of an 162-game season, I think is one of the harder things to do in sports. For me, routine and process is something that I try to just be as stubborn as I can to. Obviously, you make tweaks throughout that just because of how long the season is. But if you can find a routine that works for you to get you feeling ready and most comfortable so that you can go compete once the game starts, I think that's how you can get consistent results over a long period. And I think I've done a pretty good job of being consistent with my routine this year. Yeah,
for sure. I think that's a huge part of it. And now the postseason's in front of you guys. You're the number 6 seed in the National League. What's your mindset heading in? Do you think you're going to be more nervous than usual in your first at-bat, you think?
Probably. I think after that first at-bat, it's just baseball. We still are playing the same game once we're in between those foul lines. But I also think that we feel like we can beat anybody. So I think there's a little bit of a confidence within us that we feel like we can beat anybody, and that should translate on the field. Yeah,
for sure. And, I'm an Astros fan, but I hope it's Astros-Phillies World Series we can see here.
I'm in.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I've never really interviewed anybody outside of the Astros organization, but want to hear your thoughts on playing here in Minute Maid Park. Just want to hear how it's been here.
Yeah, this is my first time at Minute Maid. I've obviously seen atmospheres and World Series and playoff games on TV, but it's great. The fans have been awesome. It's been loud and raucous. It seems like it's a great place to hit, just playing here on Monday night. It's really all you can ask for, I think, as a visiting player, with a good atmosphere. And obviously these guys are really good and competitive, so that always makes the games more fun.
Yeah, I think Minute Maid's probably my favorite ballpark, but I want to hear your thoughts on the Astros team that you've been facing on the other side. Want to hear your thoughts as, an opponent.
Yeah, they're a resilient bunch. Offensively, the lineup is deep. They really slug, but I think they really control the strike zone a lot, which can make it tough on opposing pitchers. Obviously, the starting staff is pretty amazing. Their numbers speak for themselves. And a lot of them have, career-long resumes that they can back this year's numbers up with. And their bullpen has been, I think, steady throughout the year. They have a lot of good stuff back there, so that always makes it tough on hitters late in the game.
Yeah, I think, this team is well on its way to reaching World Series again. We'll see. But, there are a couple guys from Houston on the team that were there, guys like Ken Emmanuel, Garrett Stubbs, Davinsky. What's it like hanging out with those guys? You mind telling a little bit more about your experiences with them, if you had any.
Yeah, Kent Emmanuel, we haven't seen much, but we got to get to know one another during spring training. Stubbs has been on the roster all year, and Davinsky joined us late. I will say that the biggest thing that I will say about all three of them as a group is that they're just ball players. They really learned the game of baseball here from their time in Houston, and how to play the game the right way, and that was pretty obvious as soon as I met them.
Yeah, they're great guys. Glad they're on the Phillies and getting an opportunity there. What was the favorite moment, I would say, in the clubhouse after clinching, getting your playoff spot? What was it like being in the clubhouse in that moment?
Yeah, well, just a celebration, right?
Yeah.
The sting in the eyes of the champagne is something that I'll always remember. But just the toast from the manager as someone that has been with him a long time, since 2018, as a part of the staff. Just a lot of culmination of a lot of hard work from a lot of different people, all kind of coming to that moment where we all just kind of got to toast each other and celebrate.
That was a great moment. So happy for you. And I really want to hear about your story, how you got involved with the Muscular Dystrophy Association. You've been there for so many years, been such a great ambassador. Tell me about how you got involved.
So in high school, I was a camp counselor at a summer camp in Northern California. I'm fortunate enough to not know anybody with any neuromuscular diseases, but just got in touch with someone that worked the camp, was a camp counselor. I absolutely loved it. It was one of the best weeks of my life. I loved it so much I went back the next year as a volunteer, and I've just kind of stayed in touch ever since. As soon as I got to Philadelphia, I made a connection with somebody in the Philadelphia office and chapter, and we've created a relationship that's withstood a lot. It's been great to get to know the people at MDA over the last couple years, but most importantly, create relationships with the families and kids and adults that are dealing with a lot of these diseases. Just being a part of their lives in any capacity that we can, showing them that there's an extra hand if they need it, and just raising awareness so that we can get closer to finding a cure.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what is the work that you're doing right now with MDA, and particularly, I'd say around now? Like, what is your ultimate goal right now?
A lot of it is just to provide support to some of the families within the Philadelphia area. Okay. Continue to raise awareness for the disease, for the people, for the families that and caregivers. That's what we've kind of done. We hosted our first event, me and my wife, this year, which hopefully will become an annual thing. But really, it's just about providing support for as many families as we can.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're doing amazing work with MDA. But what do you want the Muscular Dystrophy Association to build up to eventually? Like, what do you hope could be the future for kids with neuromuscular diseases?
Well, I think my experience with MDA started with summer camp.
Yeah.
So I would hope that with as much support as we can provide, that as many kids that want to go to summer camp have that opportunity. I got to see how joyous it was for a lot of the campers when I was there, and how much of a relief it was for their parents to see them having as much fun as they were. So creating an opportunity for kids to go to camp if they want to but don't have the means to is something that I think is our ultimate goal. Yeah,
that's awesome, Rhys. You're doing a great job. Really, really appreciate the time today. And also say hi to Jamie for me. I know she does a great job as well with MDA. So thank you so much for the time, Rhys.
I will. Manav, thank you, man.
Yeah.
Keep going with all your work. It's awesome. Your YouTube channel is great.
I appreciate that.
I'll support you, man. I'll follow.